If you are the person who regularly gives presentation in your school, college or at your office, then this video would be very helpful to you. Just go through this video till end. It gives an immense knowledge how to give a presentation, and most importantly, how not to give a presentation you will be learning. Because before learning anything, if you know what we should not do, then definitely you will be achieving your dream. Here, when we talk about presentation, there are three components. Three components were categorized based on the three kind of persons. How a person will give a presentation, based on that I have segregated into three components: component 1, component 2 and component 3. We'll keep these three components aside. Now we'll talk about what we will be doing before giving any presentation. After that, we'll talk about these three components. If you're preparing any content, if you're preparing for any speech, if you're preparing for any presentation, you will be gathering all the information, right? You will be gathering all the information. As I mentioned in one of the video, stating that you need to prepare and you need to know what is your content, and you need to prepare in such a way that it should look like a presentation, and of course you need to know the audience. Since you are presenting very regularly, hence you know who are your audience. Here, fourth point may not be applicable or very useful for you, but here we'll be focusing on these 3 points: preparing, knowing your content, and gathering like a speech, right? So you have gathered everything and you have made a beautiful presentation. Let's take 10 pages of presentation. While looking, it was awesome. It was awesome. Mix of points and mix of some pictures. PPT was ready. PPT was ready. Now we'll talk about those 3 components. Now your speech is ready. Your PPT is ready. We'll talk about these 3 components. First component, which means first category people, they'll open that PPT and they will read line by line throughout the PPT. Just they will go through complete PPT. Complete PPT. This is irrespective of the fear they have. Doesn't matter whether they have fear or not. That's secondary. That's another skill. Here I'm talking about how we will be presenting, how you need to present. First category people, like just they will go through the slides. Just they will go through the PPT. Whatever is there in the PPT, they will read. They will read. In few situations, people read, there's a small line or small word at the end of the PPT like continue. They'll read that as well. They'll read that as well. So this is component number 1. First category of people, they'll be reading throughout the presentation. Now coming to second category. Second category people, which is now we are into second component. We entered into second component. Second component people, they'll read whatever mentioned in the PPT and they will again explain in their own point. For example, I love food, and that speaker has changed that. First they have read that statement stating that I love food, and again here speaker converts into I love food, especially biryani. So he was using that PPT as a reference. Yes, of course they are reading, but just they are converting into their own story as well. Not completely, wherever it is needed. This is component number 2. And component number 3, third category people who are very interesting, who are very inspired, very motivated. All these kind of people will be in third component. So you are wondering how they will be giving their presentation? In first component, people directly they will be reading the slide or PPT. In second component, they'll be reading and they'll be converting or they'll be just modulating something. And third category people, they'll just gather and they'll be used as in keynotes. They'll not place in PPT, just they will remember and place it as in keynotes. In PPT, just they'll be using some images, only images if needed here and there, small clipping of video, that's it. Even they'll not look at the PPT sometimes. Yes, they'll be looking, but most of the times they'll not look at the PPT. There could be some images and small videos and they'll be sharing the story. Then they'll be sharing their presentation. Then they'll be sharing whatever they have learned, prepare everything they'll be sharing with the people. Here you need to remember one thing. In component number 1, you will not focus on audience because you are busy in reading the PPT. In component number 2, even though you will not focus on audience because you have read that and you need to convert, memorize, convert, and you need to speak. So here also there's a less scope of dragging your audience or focusing towards audience. But if you take the third category, third component, which is mind-blowing, because you have huge time to focus, to look at your audience, because as a speaker it's your responsibility to drag their attention. You need to share something with them as a story which can carry them, Audience need to come with you. If you are continuously reading the slides or doing something, they'll not with you. They'll be in different world. They'll be taking their smartphone and they'll be in different world. But if you're just sharing the images on the PPT on your projector and you're sharing as a story, that would be awesome. For example, let me share a story so that you can visualize that. There's a smiley image here. Background, there is a smiley image. Let's imagine there's a background which is smiley, which is my PPT right now. So if there is a smiley image, do I need to share a story which makes you laugh or which makes you cry or which makes you sad? Definitely I need to create a story which can make some smile, which brings a small smile on your face. That doesn't mean that I need to crack a joke. Just I need to add some humor, that's it. Whenever I'm talking, I need to add some humor. Let's take, I always see people like you who are very naughty and crazy, who always make me laugh. That's it. You're just pulling someone from the audience, adding a point and just leaving, and you're continuing with your part, continuing with your presentation. So remember, don't gather everything. If you're gathering, use that as in keynotes and visualize that. In PPT, only images and graphs. If you're working as in corporate, you need some graphs and you need some data, that's okay. But most important, there should not be any content. There should not be any sentence over there. Because as a speaker, if you're presenting anything, that's your responsibility, that your audience or your employees need to look at you. They need to look at you. If the employees or your audience need to look at you, that means you need to be handsome. You need to be a superhero. If that is the case, all the superheroes and handsome models will be the great speakers. But that was not the case here. That was not the case. That doesn't mean that all the speakers were not handsome. We are not talking about that. We are talking about how to talk and how to project or how to present effectively in front of people. I strongly recommend and believe on third category people or third component people who will inspire us, who will motivate us, who will educate as well. This is Uday signing off for now. See you in my next video.